After the Suez Crisis, the Egyptians and the Arab nations weren't exactly too happy about their loss. It was the second time they lost, and it was really like a slap in the face as Israel celebrated for 24 hours straight. In fact, if it wasn't for their big sugar daddy, the Soviet Union, Egypt would have already lost the Sinai Peninsula. Which is also sort of ironic if you think about it, considering that the Six-Day War started also because of Soviets. At first they decided that, hey, maybe war's not such a good idea and let's have peace. But it was hard to have peace when border skirmishes was constant. In April of 1967, Israeli bombers bombed the nearby village of Samu in Syria, killing 18 people. On November in the same year, 6 Syrian jet fighters were also shot down by the Israeli Defense Force. As you probably think, the Arab nations weren't exactly too happy about this, as they're constantly humiliated by Israel's victory. The final straw came when Soviet intelligence was falsely reported that Israel was planning on mass-scale intervention in Syria. This intelligence report was shown to the Egyptian Prime Minister called Nasser, and since they were very strong allies with Syria, they decided to make a coalition and defeat Israel before their so-called attack started. Soon, the Egyptians started mobilizing their troops across the Egyptian-Israel border. Later on, Egypt and Jordan made a mutual defense pact. Iraq joined later and followed up, so did Syria. War, at this point, was inevitable. Every way, the Arabian coalition has numerical superiority than their Israel enemies. As shown here, they nearly have triple the times of tanks, double the time of manpower, and triple the times of aircrafts. However, Israel have much more advanced weapons, and is partially due to their biggest ally, America. Despite their numerical superiority, the Arab nations weren't really at a great start. Just after the war was declared, the Israeli Air Force decimated 90% of Egypt's Air Force. The Syrian Air Force also being decimated the same way. Next was the land invasion, in which Israel spent 3 days taking over the Gaza Strip and the Sinai Peninsula with overwhelming victory. Next, Jordan came and tried to take Jerusalem, but however was repelled after a counterattack. In June the 7th, UN calls for a ceasefire as Israel, Jordan, and Egypt agreed, with Syria taking a few more days. After a summit at Khartoum, peace was finally established. For Israel, it was a big victory, while for the Arabians, it was a humiliating defeat. Stop the blockade of the Strait of Tiran, which is crucial to Israel's trade, while Israel has to return all conquered territories. Nasser, although losing the war, was a hero in the Egyptians' mind. Surprisingly, it is also the start of the Palestinian-Israel conflict when the Fatah organization finally rose up.